Hey everyone, Leo with Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our unicorn birthday card. Now this card features a little cloud on the front that opens up and actually holds a gift card, which is a nice added touch. It opens up so that you can write your little message or whatever it is you want to add. And this is the card base. Now, just to make it nice and strong, there's no score line here. You just fold it. Just fold it in half. You want to line it up, obviously, against itself. There's the same exact layer back here. And as you bring it over and begin to fold, just press down right here at the seam and you're good to go. Okay, so now on the inside, we do have a little panel, and this is where you can actually import this file into your cutting software and write your little sentiment out here with your pens. You got plenty of room to do stamping, or just write it by hand if that's what you prefer to do, and that's fine. That's totally up to you, but we're gonna start by just getting rid of this piece and gluing it down to the inside. When we do so, we're gonna keep a nice even border all the way around. So let's get that going here. Just a little bit on the inside. You don't ever wanna cake it with too much glue on a panel like this that you're planning on writing on or stamping on, because it can possibly warp the paper. We're always trying to avoid that. Just get that on there. You can see how I have a nice even border all the way around. Okay, there we go. Press that down into place. Perfect. Plenty of room for whatever message you want to send to your recipient. And we'll close this up. Now this piece is going to go on the front, and you can see that it uses up some of, well, there's still a little bit of pink showing. So actually, I did not even notice that when I was inking, because I inked all of these pieces for the hair, and I did not ink these little pieces. So you can see here, when we put this down, what pieces are still showing, and it's part of the hair. So I'm going to try to get a little bit of ink here, and a little bit along the side. I might need to kind of pop it back on just to kind of remember where I'm going here. Okay, so as far as the inking goes, my process has been pretty much the same over the years. I like a nice subtle touch when it comes to my inking. So now what I'm doing here is I am hitting just the surface and the edge with a little bit of ink. What I'm noticing here is that it's not really showing up too much, but that's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the white back on there and see if that helps maybe show that. I don't want it to be too strong. If this dark pink that I'm using does not work, I can move and use a purple or maybe a deeper red. Okay, so that's not really showing up very well. So I am going to go with a red, and actually I have, let me grab an actual red, or let me see, that's also rosebud, that's the same thing. So let's grab a red, and you would think, well, why would you go with red? It sounds like it might be too deep. Well, you know, the color that you're pulling from this doesn't, it's not always going to look like that on there, because some of the card is still playing a factor into how the ink looks when we get it on there. And see, that still has kind of a hint of pink to it. So I'm okay with that. I don't mind the red. I think that's going to work for me. Okay. So I'm going to hit the hair over here, nice and easy, because it is kind of a deeper color. So we don't want to cake it on too much. We just want to kind of tinge that edge a little bit, just to kind of give it a little bit of a gradient sort of look. That's good. And I believe down here is the last little spot where I want to add a little bit of ink. Sometimes it's hard to get into these little areas. You may need to kind of move some things out of the way. And if it's not possible, I tend to just leave it alone and not risk warping my paper or destroying it. You could maybe get a what is it called, a Q-tip or something, and try to get into those nooks and crannies. But I noticed that with a Q-tip, I never get the same consistency, so I also try to avoid that. And that's okay, not a big deal. But I think I got what I was looking for there. That looks good. Okay, so we are going to glue this down like so. Okay, and I'm going to flip this over and get my glue going. Nice and easy. Try to get as much of the surface as I can. And you don't want to put it on too thick because it will, if it's too wet, meaning you have too much on there, it will affect the paper. We don't want to do that. Okay, so I'm looking at the horn on the unicorn, on its head. Now I'm looking at the mouth and the face and just trying to get that all as lined up as possible. Now I'm looking here at the neck, bringing it down, and I think that's pretty good. Okay, there we go. Let's take a look at that. Looks good. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we'll start building the hair. Okay, and you can see that I sort of have it layered already just to kind of get it ready for me. Okay, and you can see here that we're kind of going from largest to smallest as far as the size goes. So in my case, we're going to start with this purple, and we really just want to match it up with the existing features on what I'll call the shadow layer. So the hair here, I guess you can call them bangs. Okay, and then obviously here you want to match that up. And a lot of this is going to be covered up by, and again, I did strategic inking. This whole thing does not need to be inked. Most of it acts as a visible layer, but the majority of it acts like a shadow so that we know where to place the next layer. Okay, so you may want to just kind of layer these things together before you ink, just to see where you need to add ink and where you don't need to add ink, so you don't waste time inking things that will eventually be covered up. Okay, so I'm using the little hairline there as my first guide, and then over here, and then this should match up perfectly as well, and we'll press that down. Perfect. Okay, our next layer is going to be this blue layer, and again you can see how much the inking really adds to the overall aesthetic. I think it makes it look really sharp. All right, so the first few layers have a lot more surface area, and then as we keep layering, there's less and less area to apply glue onto, so it becomes easier and easier. Just do your best. It's a really cool design. Okay. Try to get that as lined up as you can, as accurately lined up as you can. There we go, perfect. Wonderful. Okay, next we've got a pink layer, a light pink layer. And that's gonna go right here, like so. Okay, let's flip her over. Get that glue flowing nice and easy. Work the perimeter. There we go. Okay, and pop that into place very carefully. Try to be as accurate as you can. Perfect. There we go. Okay. Looking sharp. All right, so as I mentioned, as we build on the layers here, you can tell this one is going to be a lot easier, a lot less surface area. I was out shopping with my Gabby today, and was getting some props for this set. And they had her go in the toy section, and she seems to think that I don't know what kids like. But I'm pleased to say that even at 9 going on 10, she's still into like stuffed animals and, you know, real kid stuff, even though I guess you could say the world has sort of tainted her in some ways, mostly because of, you know, the stuff that kids say in school, but she's still very innocent, I guess you could say, which is nice. Okay, and this last little piece is going to go right here. It's kind of like a little blue highlight there. Okay, so let's get that in place. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. I don't think I did. Okay, let's pop that right in there. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, now we also have a little flower that's going to go right here. And if you want, and I highly recommend you do, just grab yourself a little dowel and let's curl those petals up to give them a little bit of dimension. And of course, as I always say, that center of that flower is a great place to add a little bit of bling after the fact. Once we're all done, you can bling this out however you want. And we're going to take this little flower and pop it right about here so it kind of covers up that harsh edge where the hair meets the ear. Okay, so we kind of put it right about there, just like that. All right, so next we can start building the, let's see here, we can start building the eye. We're going to need this black piece, followed by, we have a white piece, and then we have a green piece, and then we have one more black piece. And we're just going to kind of layer those up to create the eye. This black is going to be our backmost layer, and I think I'm just going to glue this down first, just to get it in place. Just a few little dots of glue will do. I'm going to spread that out with my finger a little bit so that I don't accidentally get it all over the place. And we do have a series of little markers here to help you with the placement. There's another set of markers here that almost looks like a little V, and that's actually for the little heart that we're going to put there. So don't mix that up with where the eye goes. Okay. Next, this little piece here is going to go, the white one's going to go right on top of the black flush at the eyelash. So we want that little eyelash to still be there at the bottom. So don't go flush with the complete bottom of this. You want to be just above that little eyelash. Okay, and that will result in a little black border all the way around. Okay, next we're going to do the green layer. Now the green layer, you just want to make that flush with the bottom of the white layer that we just put on there. And there's also a little set of markers on there too to help you get it centered. And then finally we have this last black layer. Very delicate little piece. So you're not going to need a ton of glue on that. Just a little dot of glue should do. You're going to cover it right over where that little circle hole is. Just like that. Okay, perfect. And now there's 3 hearts that are cut out when you cut this stuff out. The smallest of the 3 hearts is the one that's going to go right below her eye. So it's just kind of like a little sticker or a little unicorn tattoo, if you will. Okay, and that is going to go right here. We're going to use those little guides. It's tiny. If you have a pick-me-up tool and you use it for small pieces like this would be a good time for that. And that's just going to go right there, like so. Beautiful. Okay, this little area here where you have the nostril, get yourself a black fine tip pen, and we're just going to draw that in. Just going to literally just draw that in. Instead of trying to get a giant piece or a tiny little piece in there, just use a little marker, very fine tip marker, and just pencil that in. Okay. All right, also for the top of the hat, we have these 3 little pieces. They're kind of small, but not hard to work with. The largest one is going to go thicker to skinnier from left to right, and that's going to go flush up against the hair right there. So we're kind of creating a striped little, it almost looks like a party hat, but I just realized that that's the unicorn. Or the, whatever it's called, the thingy. You can tell that I'm a unicorn professional, and I know all of a unicorn's anatomy. The horn. Boy, that's silly. I didn't know that. Okay. And then next we'll grab this piece. Again, the skinny little tip is going to be on the right-hand side. Just throw a tiny little bit of glue on there and just pop it into place, and you'll know when you're in the right spot, because it'll fit on the left, and then on the right it will be flush as well, so you may have to kind of nudge it down a little bit. And there we go, just like that. And then finally we have this little guy, and it's going to look like a little triangle where the longest side is going to be on your top right. Okay. And if it's not very clear in this video, take a look at the photo just so that you're understanding what I'm saying. You may have to kind of rotate it a couple times just to make sure you get it in the right spot, but that's roughly what it should look like, just like that. Okay, so she's pretty much all done here. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to put our little cloud in place, and if all goes well, this cloud should fit in like a little puzzle there, okay? And then will also be nice and flush here at the bottom, which mine is. Now, by the way, here are your little slits, the little tabs here that are going to hold the gift card in place. You do not want to put glue on these, okay? So this is going to open like this, the tabs inside, which means that we need to flip this over and apply glue to this section, avoiding those little slits where the gift card's going to reside. And of course, right as I say that, I do it anyway. With the pattern paper, it can be a little tough to see, so just make sure you're careful. Okay, and you can put a little bit below it, which we'll want to do because we want that to be nice and flush at the bottom. All right, so let's flip this over, get this in place. Like I said, just goes in like a little puzzle. Should be flush on the sides as well, and flush at the bottom. Press that down into place. And of course, we are keeping this closed by way of a little Velcro dot. So we can actually put this in place right now. Let's peel off the backing on one side, and I'm going to put my little dot right here, and then peel off the backing on the other side, and we'll close it up. Give it a quick little press, and then you can hear it. There you go. Okay, so you still have, let me make sure I didn't glue that shut. I don't think I did. There it is. I'm going to keep that up so you can hold your gift card in place. All right, so we'll close this up. And now I'm going to go in, and we have our little caption that's going to go on the front. The inside's done. Okay, so we just need to put this little guy together. Okay, so here we go. We've got the back layer, which has nothing on it. Then we're going to glue this gold layer on top of this. So I've got foil going on this, almost like when you put it in the light a certain way, it creates a little rainbow, which is cool. That's why we went with the paper, obviously. So let's go ahead and put this gold piece onto that piece, and I may need to pause to allow this to dry. I'm not sure how well this is going to grip initially. I may need to just be kind of patient with this one, and that's okay. It's like a smooth surface going onto a smooth surface. So just line that up as accurately as you can, and I can already tell it's going to take a few extra moments because of how much it's just kind of slipping and sliding around. Okay, so now that we have this in place, you're probably looking at this and you're like, what is going on here? But it's pretty snazzy. You're going to take this little piece that has what looks like two little triangles on it, and that's going to get glued into this little slot right here. Just avoid putting glue on top of the little cutouts there. And just pop that right into place here. Should fit perfectly like a little puzzle. And then down here, this is where birthday, it's going to say birthday. Just make sure that you have it in this orientation, like this, not upside down like that. This is basically the center of the B, which you want on the left-hand side. Okay, so just make sure you do that. And we'll go ahead and apply that. And just pop that into place here, like so. And it's just gonna give this a different color, just to make it super colorful, because this thing's already, you know, super colorful as it is. And we're gonna continue adding some color to it so it's not so bland on the bottom. All right, so now we're gonna take and we're gonna glue this down, like so. So you can see here, you've got have a and birthday. I've got have a in green, birthday in purple. Okay, so we don't have to put tiny little letters in place. We've got this little cutout contraption sort of thing happening here. Okay, and just work that glue around the perimeter, especially. And then we'll throw a little bit on the inside here. And then maybe a little bit around the letters, especially the H and the V. Okay, and if you feel like you got a little too much on there, just dab that with your finger, thin it out a little bit. And we're just gonna pop this onto the shadow layer, like so. If you're using paper like I am here, just make sure your fingers are clean so you don't end up blemishing the surface of this. I'm gonna flip this over so I don't get my fingerprints on there. It looks like it might want to incriminate me by stealing my fingerprints. There we go, perfect. Okay, I'll make sure that that is holding together nicely. And we don't have any gapped areas. I have a little gap there at the top. I'm not a fan of that, so I'm gonna take a scrap piece of paper, throw a little bit of glue right on the very edge, and I'll just take it and just, where is it? Yeah, this layer here just didn't get enough glue. So I'll just kind of paint a little bit of glue right there, right where it needs it. Okay, and we'll press that down like so. There we go. Okay, so next we have our little star element that's going to go right here. Okay, and this is where eventually, depending on how old or how young your recipient is, you're going to cut out the corresponding number for that. And that's just going to go right there. I did ink that with a little bit of an orange. Beautiful. Cool. Okay, and then we're doing the number 9. So I'm just going to glue that down like that. I'm just going to make sure that it's just right side up. Not right side up, but straight up and down, I guess. Obviously you want it right side up, because if it was upside down, it'd be a 6. And I'm here all day, folks. Throw that 9 in there. And again, you're going to use whatever number you want to use for however old your recipient is going to be. Okay, we also have a little moon. You can see where the shadow portion of that is there on that main piece. And this is a little bit of a delicate little piece, so if you need to use your little pick-me-up tool for that, that's fine. Just be careful not to overdo it with the glue. Okay, and that's going like this. Just want to match it up with the existing shadow. There we go. That's looking awesome. Okay, and then finally, we have the blue part, the main part of our caption. And you do have a series of little markers here, as well as little cutouts. So it's going to be tough to get it wrong. You can see this little cutout here matches up with this cutout, that little swirl on the bottom of the M. Okay, so with this, I would probably recommend just doing a series of dots and then using your finger to thin those dots out, because I guarantee no matter how accurate you think you are with those little dots, it's guaranteed to be too much glue. This thing is tiny. It's a very, very tiny little piece. You don't need a lot of glue for that. Okay, so match that up. I'm matching up the little cutout first, Then I'm scanning over here where the little markers are for the bumps on the M, and we'll pop that right into place, and that felt good, and it's perfect. Okay, so now let's find the AG, and you can see that, where is that? There we go. Okay, so there's a marker there for this section here and here. All right, and again, I would just use some dots. You don't need to put glue on every single inch of this either. It's such a delicate piece that a little bit of glue will go a long way here. I'm gonna put this down and just dab it with my finger like that so I can get more of that surface area. And just remember these markers and how the actual design goes into place relative to those markers. There we go, press that down. Okay, got a little bit of glue there. That looks good. And now finally, we have the ICAL part. And we'll just do a little dot throughout. I'll put that on my surface, hold it down with one finger while I dab it with my other. I don't need a lot of glue. Okay, and I can see that the I is going to go right here. There we go. And then of course you can see the little cutout for the L there to give it a little bit of depth. And that's perfect. Okay, so then of course we have a little heart left for the top of the I, a little dot. Thin that out. And just use those little markers to help you with the positioning of the hearts. And there's your beautiful caption. Okay, so that, I guess we can glue that down flat. Maybe if you wanted to, you could technically pop dot that, I guess. But that's gonna be flush at the bottom. So you kind of have like this this multi-layered cloud thing going on here. Okay, but yeah, you know what? Why don't we just throw some pop dots on that? That could be cool. Give it a little dimension. Find my foam squares here. Oh, here they are. All right, let's flip that over and start on the perimeter. I think we could put one on the star there. There we go. Pardon my head. It tends to get in my way a lot, physically and in other ways. All right, let's peel the backing off this. These are not, I'm not a big fan of these. Getting the backs off, just making sure my letters weren't moving. Okay, there we go. One more to go, and really that's all that's left with the card. We just have to put our envelope together. Then we can call it a day. Okay. And again, just making sure that this is flush. So if that's the objective here, I might want to use my table to kind of help me with the positioning on that, and that worked out very nicely. I love the dimension on that. That's very cool. Okay, so you can see it opens up nicely, stands up perfectly, and of course, secret little compartment for a gift card. And I might have to do a pretend birthday for Miss Gabby here, and I took her to Claire's not that long ago actually to get her ears pierced, and she's been doing a pretty good job maintaining everything. I think it might have been a little too soon, but you know, she's been really good in school and with hygiene, and she's been very respectful. She's a real good girl. So every girl wants their ears pierced, right? I mean, not every girl, but you know what I'm saying. Most of them do. All right, so let's take a look and see how that works. Just slide that right in. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at our envelope. And the envelope here is made up of these pieces. We have a few little embellishments that will go on there in just a moment. In the meantime here, we have this little panel to give this a two-toned sort of look, which means that we need to apply glue to the inside flap. And I'm going to start with the focus being around the perimeter. Then we'll do a little bit on the inside. Don't go beyond the score mark that joins this top flap to the main part of the envelope. Just keep it cool, keep it within those boundaries. And then we're going to take this and just kind of push it up against that little score mark, making sure that it's nice and centered. And once you have it and you know you got it, take it and just bring that down and press down. Okay, there we go, perfect. Beautiful. Okay, and next, I'm going to take this little piece with these nice little details here. Let me move this out of the way. And you can see we do have a series of little markers here to help you with the positioning of this. It goes like this. You've got kind of like a little bird. You know how I used to draw little birds with two little lines? Those are going to go right here where these little dips are in the clouds. And then of course you have a little marker here for the tip of the moon. And that's going to go right there like that. Okay, so let's flip this over, apply our glue. I think what we're going to need to do is our little dot method on these tiny sections, and then hit that with your finger to dab it to thin it out. Otherwise it will go all over the place. And if it helps to put it down while you're dabbing it, that's fine. Clean off that finger. Make sure you don't have a bunch of glue on your finger. And again, use those little markers to help you with the placement. And that one should just fall right into place, like so. Perfect. Okay, we have an overlay for the moon in this beautiful gold foil. Throw a little bit of glue on there, don't overdo it. Like that. And then we have a little heart to finish that off. Whoops. Just match that up with the existing moon, pardon my head. There we go. Just like that. And we have our little heart. You'll notice the little marker there for the heart. And a dot there and a dot there. That's all we need. Let's match that up with the marker. Just like that. Okay. All right, so let's take a look here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's finish up the envelope. So what we're going to do is bring these two flaps in. Might want to use a bone folder to kind of get those nice and folded in, and apply some glue almost down to the bottom, not quite. Right along the edge here, right about there. Then bring the bottom flap in, press it down, and just hold while that sets. And while I'm holding that, I'm just going to admire this card. It's beautiful. Look at that. I finally have something for some young kids. This is great. I'm very happy with how this turned out. And they're going to love it. Okay, and there you go. Just like that. We're ready to go. So that's going to do it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, head on over to our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. While you're there, hit the little bell so you get notifications anytime we release a new product, whether it be paid or free. And if you make this or anything from our new bundle, I'd love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Official. That's where you'll find myself and over 43,000 other dreamers that inspire us daily. So anyway, I had a blast. Hope you did too. And as always, I look forward to crafting with you again. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos. And also, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section, where we have over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly videos. I look forward to crafting with you soon.